The sun rises differently in the east. In Hong Kong, it filters through glass towers shaped like blades, catching on the logos of banks, tech giants, and now crypto exchanges. For decades, this city was the intersection of old money and new risk, of British control and Chinese ambition. It was here that fortunes were made, sometimes overnight, sometimes in silence. And now it is here, amid the tension of politics and the promise of innovation, that AFX steps forward. The listing doesn't come with fireworks. There is no over-the-top trailer, no influencer parade, just an announcement, short, clinical, but seismic. AFX is listing on a major Hong Kong-based centralized exchange. For many, the name of the exchange matters. For those paying closer attention, what matters more is the location. Because Hong Kong is not just a dot on the map, it is the gateway to Asia. And in crypto, Asia is not a region, it is a gravity well. Within minutes, trading desks from Seoul to Singapore adjust. Arbitrage bots reprogram. Telegram groups with Mandarin and Cantonese scroll faster than ever. The West hears about it last, but the East is already moving. Liquidity starts to build. The order books light up with intent, not panic. This isn't the first time a project listed in Asia, but it may be the first time the market knows that it matters. AFX has long been a token of silence, of strategy, of structure. It did not arrive with memes. It arrived with conviction. Its holders, mostly Western until now, operated with a specific kind of patience. But that patience is about to meet something more powerful, demand. Because Hong Kong is not just where money flows, it's where institutional money watches. And institutions in Asia don't watch like Western funds. They don't need a tweet storm. They don't need CNBC coverage. They need signal, consistency, compliance, architecture. They look for tokens that can withstand regulatory scrutiny and technological audits. They speak in boardrooms, not Discord. And now they are speaking the name, AFX. For weeks, internal analysts run scenarios. They test the token's liquidity. They observe how it handles volatility. They read white papers in native language translations. AFX is no longer under the radar, it's under the microscope. And that is exactly where it shines. Because while the West asks, what's the next 10x, the East asks, what will be here in 10 years? AFX answers both. As trading opens on the Hong Kong exchange, a new demographic enters. These are not retail gamblers. These are university graduates with engineering degrees, middle managers from fintech firms, government researchers posing as investors. Every one of them understands that a listing in Hong Kong is more than accessibility, it's a statement. It says, we are ready for Asia. And readiness is rare. Most projects list for liquidity. Some list for exit liquidity. AFX lists for longevity. It's a statement of maturity, of intention. It wants to be part of the backbone of the new financial internet, not just a token floating in speculative waters. That's why the Hong Kong listing is more than geography, it's philosophy. Behind the scenes, whispers begin. AFX's smart contracts are among the cleanest they've seen. Its staking architecture is elegant. Its governance mechanism is lean but adaptive. Asian developers begin testing integrations. Some begin experimenting with Layer 2 compatibility on local networks. Others start translating AFX documentation into Japanese, Korean, Thai. It's happening, not through a campaign, but through curiosity. This is what adoption looks like when it's earned. Meanwhile, in boardrooms across Kowloon and Central, men in tailored suits run the numbers. Some represent family offices, some hedge funds, some are barely distinguishable from government observers. What they see in AFX is not hype, but symmetry, not noise, but logic. They see the same thing AFX holders have seen all along, structure. And structure is what the East respects most. In Hong Kong, the digital moves only where tradition allows. This city still runs on paperwork and blockchain in equal measure. But for those who understand both, AFX becomes an outlier worth investigating. Not because it's the loudest, but because it's the most disciplined. The chart doesn't spike erratically. The volume isn't manipulated. Wallets aren't dumping. The project is stable, controlled, trustworthy. That trust begins to echo outward. Exchanges in Japan begin asking questions. Korean analysts mention it on live streams. Southeast Asian forums pick it up. AFX, once primarily Western in awareness, is now Asian in attention. And attention here is different. It's focused, inquisitive, long-term. The East doesn't need 100x returns overnight. It needs continuity. AFX's ability to deliver consistent updates, to maintain a modest but clean roadmap, to speak with clarity, all of it builds towards something few tokens achieve: regional endorsement. Not officially, of course. That never comes directly. But you see it in the way wallets accumulate, in the way validators talk, in the way partnerships are suggested quietly before they're announced. Hong Kong itself begins to take note, not as a city, but as a symbol. Because when a token gets traction in this city, it sends a signal to Shenzhen, to Shanghai, to Beijing. Regulatory bodies start compiling notes. AFX's wallet distribution is clean. Its volume distribution is not artificially weighted. Its governance token has no direct control by a single whale. In a market drowning in red flags, AFX is remarkably clear. And clarity leads to something else. Respect. Not the kind that comes with Twitter likes or YouTube reviews. The kind that comes in institutional memos. The kind that ends up on due diligence reports. The kind that makes high net worth individuals call their wealth managers and say, "I want exposure to this." Quietly, AFX becomes a private conversation, not a trend, but a thesis. Soon you see the ripple effect. Wallet activity on-chain increases. Exchange balances stabilize. OTC desks begin requesting access. Small venture arms from Singapore, Vietnam, and Taiwan reach out for exploratory calls. AFX becomes something else entirely, not a bet, a building block. The listing was the spark, but the fire is catching in silence. And with it, the Western narrative begins to shift. Analysts who once ignored AFX now have to account for its Eastern momentum. They start seeing reports from Hong Kong, transaction clusters they don't recognize, user growth from regions they never considered. For the first time, the Western audience realizes AFX is no longer their hidden gem. It belongs to the East now too. But the most important shift isn't price, it's infrastructure. Local developers fork code, build bridges, launch early integrations with AFX native components. A wallet SDK is translated. A DeFi yield optimizer references AFX staking protocols. Small, powerful shifts, not attention-seeking, adoption-seeking. That's what Hong Kong enables. It's not just capital, it's culture. And culturally, AFX begins to make sense. It's minimalist, intentional, it doesn't shout, it builds. In a region where face matters more than flash, AFX becomes a token that people can support without embarrassment. Because it isn't a lottery ticket, it's a tool. And tools, unlike trends, don't expire. They evolve. So when journalists begin asking what made this listing different, the answer isn't marketing or volume. It's where the volume came from. It's how the team handled the listing, without drama, without overselling. The trust wasn't sold, it was earned. And in crypto, that's everything. Weeks pass and the narrative matures. The charts are no longer the main story. They are steady, unremarkable to the untrained eye. But to professionals, the real movement is off-chain. It's in new listings on regional aggregators. It's in partnerships being discussed quietly over encrypted calls. It's in token allocation spreadsheets shared internally at firms whose names never appear on Twitter. AFX now moves through the back channels. Its presence in Hong Kong has become more than a trading pair, it's a passport. And that passport is opening doors across Asia. In Malaysia, a regulated fund adds AFX to its watch list. In Taiwan, a local university begins modeling AFX's governance mechanics in an academic paper. In Thailand, a regional wallet provider integrates AFX natively into its asset index. Each act is small, but when added together, they represent legitimacy that no meme or flash pump could ever replicate. And then the final phase of expansion begins, not in headlines but in policy. Hong Kong's semi-autonomous crypto regulation, still evolving, starts producing lists of tokens deemed structurally clean or worthy of further exploration. AFX is among them, not front and center, but there, quietly acknowledged. That quiet acknowledgement is everything. Because in the East, open endorsement is rare, but inclusion is respect, and AFX is now included, not in hype cycles but in frameworks, in risk models, in regional strategy decks. Some will say it's just a listing, but those who understand geopolitics and capital movement know better. It's a wedge, a strategic foothold. From that foothold, AFX does not overextend, it builds with precision. Liquidity providers begin setting deeper order books. Fiat on-ramps are explored. There is no rush to overexpand. No thirst for 10 more listings, just patience, deliberate steps. AFX isn't trying to be everywhere. It's trying to be essential somewhere. And that somewhere is Asia. The data confirms it. Volume from Hong Kong, Vietnam, and Japan now surpasses previous US traffic. The Telegram channels begin to split Mandarin, Cantonese, Korean, not by marketing strategy, by necessity. Because AFX is becoming used asterisk, not just traded. And that's the holy grail of crypto adoption. Use, not speculation. The original team does not celebrate publicly. They continue shipping updates, pushing out changelogs, reviewing grants, supporting builders. There is no pivot, no sudden embrace of fame. They remain builders. That consistency resonates. Because in Hong Kong, where reputation can't be bought, consistency is the brand. Eventually, whispers reach Europe. Funds in Zurich and Frankfurt begin inquiring how AFX gained traction in Asia before appearing on their radar. Analysts issue reports late, always late, because real movements never announce themselves. They happen in silence, and the market simply wakes up one day and realizes it missed the moment. But AFX holders didn't. They saw it happen in real time. The Hong Kong listing wasn't a marketing stunt. It was a signal to those watching closely. And now those who watched are acting, buying, building, bridging, and those who ignored it, they will arrive last, as they always do, at higher prices with louder questions after the work is done. That is the cost of ignoring quiet conviction. AFX didn't chase the spotlight. It lit its own torch. And now it carries that light through the Eastern Gate, not as a guest, but as part of the architecture of what's next. The final confirmation doesn't come from price action. It comes from the silence that follows a successful expansion. There are no major controversies, no governance drama, no liquidity crises, just continuity. That is the clearest sign of all. Because in the world of crypto, where chaos is often the norm, order becomes the loudest statement of maturity. And so AFX begins to drift upward, not as a rocket, but as a tide. Funds from Korea initiate long-term holds. Builders in the Philippines fork tooling to support localized apps. Wallet analytics reveal that the average holding time for AFX has quietly increased. Volatility has decreased. Liquidity depth has increased. And somewhere in the middle of all that, a culture has formed. Not a fandom, a culture. AFX is no longer just a project or a protocol. It's a place, a hub, a quiet gathering point for people who understand that lasting impact doesn't come from moments, it comes from movement, from consistency, from resistance to compromise in the face of fast money. In a world of projects pivoting to whatever's trending, AFX remains exactly what it said it would be. That integrity is what draws Asia closer. There is something poetic about it, a Western-born token finding its true home in the East, not by selling out but by showing up, not by shouting but by sustaining. The CEX listing in Hong Kong wasn't just a technical decision, it was a spiritual one. It was an alignment of values, of priorities, of patience. The investors who entered through that gate aren't here for a quick exit. They don't talk about getting out before the rug. They talk about integrations, about onboarding, about legacy. These are the people who shape the next 10 years of finance, and AFX has become part of their vocabulary. The ripple effects continue. A government tech fund in Singapore flags AFX as infrastructure adjacent. A university in Hong Kong offers research credits for contributing to its staking governance. A Korean YouTuber quietly runs a validator node. A Thai payment app begins sandboxing AFX as a cross-border remittance experiment. And all of this happens without the project begging for attention. The work speaks. And it's heard in every language. Eventually, journalists will catch up. They'll ask questions like, why didn't we cover AFX sooner? And the answer will be simple. You weren't listening to the quiet signals. You were only watching the loud ones. But the smart money always listens early. And the smart money is in Hong Kong. Now, AFX has something most projects will never touch: geopolitical narrative alignment. It's not just a token with utility. It's a symbol of cross-regional trust. A vehicle of East-West collaboration. The bridge between ideologies. Technology that doesn't need to choose sides because its only loyalty is to function. That neutrality makes it powerful. As regulation hardens, AFX will find itself in a uniquely defensible position. It already proved itself compliant, already proved itself scalable, already embedded in ecosystems that matter. While other tokens scramble to retrofit legitimacy, AFX moves with calm because it was built with it from the beginning. When historians look back at the next crypto cycle, they'll identify flashpoints, headlines, lawsuits, moonshots. But in the margins, they'll also find the day AFX listed in Hong Kong, and they'll realize that was the inflection point nobody saw coming. Because AFX didn't just list in the East. It became part of it. And now, as Asia rises in global crypto influence, AFX rises with it, not above the crowd but through it, carrying with it the only thing that lasts when cycles end and narratives reset. Credibility. Earned, proven, and impossible to ignore.